Berardi Immigration Law is a great resource for the latest in immigration news and trends. Please be sure to subscribe to our channel. It really helps out the channel. And click that notification bell so you never miss a video from Berardi Immigration Law.
Hi, my name is Gabriella Agustinelli and I'm an immigration attorney with Berardi Immigration Law. And the purpose of this video is to go over everything you need to know for your upcoming E-3 visa appointment. So first off, what is an E-3 visa? Well, we call this the Specialty Occupation Worker from Australia visa. That's right. Australians have their own visa category carved out specifically for them. And it's only available to those Australians who have at least a bachelor's degree or U.S. equivalent of a bachelor's degree or equivalent experience of a U.S. bachelor's degree and who have been offered a position in the United States with an entity that in fact requires that education and or experience. And when we're submitting this application, what we're doing is trying to demonstrate to the government that, again, in fact, there is a nexus between your own credentials and that which is needed for the position in the United States. So first, let's talk logistics. We always tell our clients we don't recommend showing up more than 15 minutes before your interview slot. Now, when you booked your appointment, you were given an appointment confirmation page. You also were given a DS-160 confirmation page when you submitted that DS-160 application for your visa interview. You're going to want to have both of those documents handy with you when you are lined up at the embassy's door, because those are your tickets inside the embassy. You show them to the officer at the door and they will admit you. And only people who have an appointment will be admitted into the embassy. Now, there's going to be a list of items that your attorney gives you that you can and cannot bring into the embassy. Pay specific attention to that. Things like cell phones, cigarettes, food and drink are going to be limited depending on the embassy that you are attending your appointment at. So just pay particular attention to that. When you enter the building, they're going to put you through security and will then direct you towards a non-immigrant visa unit where you will sit until your name has been called. Now, keep in mind, this is not like a super intense sit-down interview in a different room with some officer. No, this is going to be a super fast cursory appointment where you're going to enter a room where there is a wall full of agents of these consular officers and one plexiglass wall after the other where you will be standing talking to the specific officer you've been assigned. When they call your name up, you're going to go up to the booth and remember, these officers are generally only given about 3 minutes from the time that you walk up there until the time a decision is made for them to really determine, is this person eligible for the visa category sought? And if that's the case, then we need to know, we need to not mince our words during that three-minute period. We have to determine what I'm saying, is this really what they're asking, and is this really what they need to know? Follow their lead always, but remember, you're up there to advocate for yourself. So, as we spoke about just a minute ago, the real purpose of this application is to indicate to the government that you have the requisite education and or experience for the position that's being offered. So what they might ask is, what is your degree? What will you be doing in the United States? What kind of experience do you have? Tell me more about your educational history. And you want to be able to demonstrate with every opportunity you're given that you're the right person for this job because your credentials are perfect for what the position's requirements are. Now, in reality, these applications are generally approved with a pretty high approval rating. Inside your application packet will be something called a labor condition application. Now, this was something your U.S. employer had to submit to the U.S. Department of Labor to indicate that you will be paid a fair wage for the position offered in the geographic area of the worksite that you will be working at. And so long as the Department of Labor certifies this, we find that the E-3 applicant is going to have a very high chance of approval. But still, you want to make sure that you are ready to advocate for yourself. You have your package of materials ready to show that you have the requisite education and or experience for this position, and that really you have your ducks in a row. At the end of the conversation, you will be told whether or not you've been approved. But before you get there, they might ask some other questions that are not so closely related to the eligibility category. What they're going to ask are things like, where will your work site be? Now you want to pay attention to the work site located on that was stipulated on your LCA. If you want to be able to demonstrate that whatever your employer put was your work site on that LCA is the work site that you're going to tell them about. And this should also be the work site that was stipulated on your DS-160 application form. They may ask you, how long are you going to be in the United States? And you can say, if it's the case that you plan on coming in periodically, say that. If it's the case that you plan on living in the United States, that's fine too. There is no wrong answer, but remember, the E-2 is only going to be issued in a 2-year increment. That means that if they ask you how long you're going to stay in the United States, you should say no longer than the 2 years that I've been given. And by the way, the E-2 is a category where we have to demonstrate to the government that you have an intention to return home following your trip to the United States. So it's a really good idea to show up to this interview with evidence of your enduring ties to Australia or your enduring ties outside the United States. This could be recent utility bills. This could be a bank account. This could be property that you own. This can be family that you have. All of these things, evidence of these ties is going to be very helpful in your interview in the odd circumstance that the government is going to ask about that. So be prepared to have any documentation in support of your ties to Australia or your ties to wherever you're living outside the United States handy. So another question they might ask is where or how will you be paid in the United States? Now, if you're moving to the United States for this position, it's a high chance of likelihood that you are going to be paid by the entity that is petitioning you for an E-3 visa. And if that's the case, absolutely say this entity will be paying my salary. But let's say you work for that entity's foreign affiliate, or you are a consultant and you're only coming in the United States as needed and you're going to be paid through your company outside the United States. That's fine. If that's the case, you should answer truthfully, but you can indicate which company will be paying for your expenses while you're inside the United States, and that above all, you will be doing work on behalf of this E-3 sponsor when you are in the United States. So let's say your visa application has been approved. What's going to happen next? Well, the government will put a visa in your passport, and that generally takes about 5 to 7 business days. Now, if you're in a super rush, you do have the ability to ask them to perhaps issue it overnight, but this is a totally discretionary request, and it doesn't have to be approved by the government. They might say, hey, sorry, you got to wait your 5 to 7 business days until you get it back. Now, what's going to happen with the passport once the visa has been issued is that it's going to be couriered to the location where you stipulated you would pick up the passport when you booked your visa appointment. So pay special attention to where you've chosen to do that. You will get an email from the embassy following the issuance of the visa, letting them know your passport's been released to the courier and giving you tracking information of when you can expect it to reach the destination. And finally, once you have your visa in hand, you're ready to enter the United States. And generally what we tell our clients, all you need to enter the United States is your passport with that visa in it. With that, you'll be good to go. So good luck at your appointment, safe travels to the United States, and if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. We'd be happy to help.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to like our video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and hit that notification button so you never miss one of these important updates. Also, check out the Berardi blog that's on our website at berardiimmigrationlaw.com. The blog is updated 2 to 3 times a week, contains tons of up-to-date information on policies and trends. You won't want to miss it.